Recently, I've been introducing my boys to the Disney movies Inside Out. I am taking the time during their summer break to really establish emotional intelligence within them. They're two young boys. And so for me, that's really important because I want them to go out into this world, one, understanding their emotions, two, accepting their emotions, and three, knowing how to handle and feel their emotions versus suppress, repress, all of the things that we actually are taught in society that says our emotions are a bad thing, that our emotions are not supposed to be felt or processed. And so I noticed that my boys had taken up a liking of this movie, and they have Inside Out 2 on like replay recently. So, and it's giving me a huge epiphany as I'm kind of guiding and mentoring them through these emotions. So if you're familiar with the movies at all, I'll give you a little bit of a background here, right? Number one is our core emotions. So you have joy, you have sadness, you have anger, fear, and disgust. Okay. And then in number two is when we are introduced to anxiety, boredom, envy, and embarrassment. So there's a part in the movie here in Inside Out 2 where anxiety kind of like wants to take over, right? And anxiety throws out the 5 core emotions. Again, joy, sadness, anger, right? So now what's running the conscious show is anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and boredom. And it's giving me this epiphany here because in today's society, for many, many people, those 4 emotions are running the show. And do we understand why anxiety and envy and boredom and embarrassment are running the show? It's because of the suppression of the 5 core emotions, right? So many of us are taught that, joy and happiness is an emotion that many of us want to feel, but life is ever changing. Nothing is meant to be perfect in this world. Here in this human experience, we are meant to feel our emotions. That is the purpose of this experience, right? So we are meant to experience joy. Maybe it's not every day, maybe it's not all the time every day, but it is a core emotion that is supposed to be felt. Sadness is also a core emotion that's meant to be felt. But many of us, again, are taught to suppress that sadness, not to express the sadness, repress it, right? So then the repression of that sadness turns into anger, right? But sadness and anger are supposed to be living together alongside joy. These are core emotions that makes up the human experience. They are not supposed to be suppressed emotions. That's why we're sick. That's why we're mentally having problems. There's mental illness today because of the repression of these core emotions. Fear, completely normal, part of our experience. It's a part of our root chakra. It's a part of our ego's way of keeping us safe. We're allowed to have a normal, balanced amount of fear in this life. It keeps us using discernment. It keeps us in that neutral space. So when we have the repression of these core emotions that are meant to be felt and processed on a daily basis, then of course anxiety takes over. Of course envy takes over. Of course boredom, emptiness takes over. Embarrassment, shame, guilt takes over. Because we're not dealing with the core emotions that we're meant to be handling into our day-to-day lives. So I wanted to share this because this is supposed to be enlightening for people. This is supposed to enlighten us on our emotions, that we are allowed to feel sad and we're allowed to express sadness. We're allowed to be anger. Anger is healthy. When it's repressed, that's when it's dangerous. We're allowed to be happy. We should not have to suppress joy or be afraid to experience joy. It's part of this experience for us. But when we repress it, when we let the coreness of our experience be drowned out, then now you can understand why you live an anxiety-driven life. why you live a life that feels empty, it feels hollow, why you feel jealous and envious of situations, people, circumstances around you, is because you see them living something that you are not experiencing, that you are repressing. So bring those 5 core back to the surface, process them, and let yourself acknowledge consciously that these emotions are healthy and they're meant to be felt, and they're meant to be processed. And it's okay to have them. That's normal. It's normal to have those emotions. It's normal. There should not be shame or guilt around feeling angry and sad and joyful and fearful. It's about learning how to process them and live within them, not suppress them.